Welcome to the EIA-861 web tutorial. Form EIA-861 Annual Electric Power Industry Report is a mandatory report which collects information on the status of electric power industry participants involved in generation, transmission, distribution, and the sale of electric energy in the United States and its territories. Before we begin, it is important to note that all revenue amounts on the form are reported in $1,000 and rounded to the nearest tenth. For example, $54,129 would be reported as $54,100. This should be calculated by dividing your revenue by 1,000 or moving the decimal 3 places to the left. Energy amounts are reported in either megawatt hours or megawatts. Sales are reported in megawatt hours and rounded to the nearest whole value. 1 megawatt hour is equal to 1,000 kilowatt hours and can be calculated by dividing your kilowatt hours by 1,000 or moving the decimal 3 places to the left. For example, 1,268 kilowatt hours would be reported as 1 megawatt hour. Capacity is reported in megawatts and rounded to the nearest thousandth. 1 megawatt is equal to 1,000 kilowatts and can be calculated by dividing kilowatts by 1,000 or moving the decimal 3 places to the left. You should provide all data on all schedules applicable to the type of services or the nature of activities the utility is engaged in. Schedule 1 includes contact information. This schedule can only be updated by EIA-861 staff. To make updates to this schedule, please email EIA-861@eia.gov. Schedule 2 Part A collects general utility information. Lines 1 through 5 will roll over from the prior reporting year, although it is important to make sure that those fields are correct and make any updates if necessary. Line 6 is not pre-filled and must be reported if your utility provides bundled or delivery-only electricity services. Please provide the highest hourly peak demands at any 1-hour interval for summer and winter in megawatts. Schedule 2 Part B collects annual megawatt hours for all sources and disposition of energy. This schedule provides information on where the electricity comes from and where it goes. For the sources of energy, line 1 should include the net generation from all utility-owned plants. This is the gross generation minus station use for respondent-owned plants. Line 2 should include the total amount of energy purchased from other electricity suppliers to either sell to customers or for resale. Lines 3 and 4 collect the energy exchanged between the utility and other utilities in neighboring service areas. Line 5 is the difference between lines 3 and 4. Lines 6 and 7 collect the amount of energy that enters the utility system for transmission from another system and then delivered out of the utility system to another. Line 8 is line 6 minus line 7. Line 9 is the amount of energy losses associated with wheeling. This should always be expressed as a negative value. Line 10 is the total of the above sources of energy and sums of lines 1, 2, 5, 8, and 9. For the disposition of energy, line 11 must be equal to total sales for all states reported on Schedule 4, Parts A, B, and D. Line 12 is energy that is not used by an ultimate customer, but is rather sold to another provider as a wholesale sale. Line 13 includes the energy that the utility provides without charge and should not include energy used by the utility. Line 14 is the energy used by utility without charge. An example would be the electricity used for the utility's headquarters office or facilities without charge. Line 15 includes the total amount of electricity that was lost from transmission, distribution, or is unaccounted for. Please note that energy losses must be reported as a positive number. Line 16 is the sum of lines 11 through 15. Please note that line 10 and line 16 must be equal. Schedule 2 Part C collects annual electric operating revenue. Do not forget this is reported in $1,000. Line 1 includes the electric operating revenue from the sale of electricity to ultimate customers and must be equal to the total revenue reported on Schedule 4, Parts A, B, and D for all states. Line 2 includes the revenue from delivery-only customers and must be equal to the total revenue reported on Schedule 4, Part C for all states. Line 3 is the total revenue from forward physical wholesale sales. To the right of line 3, the sales for resale average price will automatically calculate if Schedule 2B, line 12, and Schedule 2C, line 3 are reported. Line 4 includes credits or other adjustments made to revenue amounts that are not included on Schedule 4. Line 5 includes the revenue from transmission of electricity for others. For example, revenue from wheeling. Line 6 collects data on revenue from activities other than the sale of electricity, such as late fees or penalties. Line 7 is the sum of lines 1 through 6. Schedule 3 collects information on the utility's distribution system and its reliability. Schedule 3 should be completed by utilities that provide distribution services and own distribution lines. Schedule 3A collects distribution system information. Data on the schedule must be reported by state. Please do not combine data from multiple states. Line 1 collects the total number of distribution circuits that have a voltage of 35 kilovolts or less. Closed-loop circuits are called networks, which serve key downtown customers and also provide sub-transmission supply to other distribution circuits through step-down transformers or substations. Line 2 collects the number of circuits that employ voltage or VAR optimization, which is used to actively manage voltage levels and reactive power in order to reduce energy losses and improve reliability and power quality. Schedule 3 Parts B and C collects information on the distribution system reliability. If your entity calculates System Average Interruption Duration Index, or SAIDI, and/or System Average Interruption Frequency Index, or SAFI, answer yes to question 1. If SAIDI or SAFI is not calculated, please answer no to question 1 and proceed to Schedule 4. Report data on Part B if SAIDI or SAFI is calculated using EIA-861 standards. If you report in Part B, but do not also report in Part C, only report data on Part C if SAIDI or SAFI is calculated using other methods and you have not reported in Part B. SAIDI indicates the total duration of interruption for the average customer over a predefined period of time. SAIDI is calculated as the sum of all customer interruption durations divided by the total number of customers served. Reminder that SAIDI values are to be reported in minutes and not hours. SAFI indicates how often the average customer experiences a sustained interruption. For example, under IEEE standards, a sustained interruption would be over 5 minutes. SAFI is calculated as the total number of customer interruptions divided by the total number of customers served. Schedule 4 Parts A through D collect data related to the sale of electricity to the ultimate customer. Revenue on Schedule 4 is the total annual revenue from the sale of electricity reported in $1,000 and to the nearest tenth. Revenue should not include late fees or other penalty payments. Any prior period revenue adjustments or credits should be reported on Schedule 2, Part C, Line 4. Megawatt hours are the total annual sales to ultimate customers and are rounded to the nearest whole value. Please pay close attention to the calculated average price on Schedule 4 to ensure that revenue and megawatt hour amounts are in the correct units. The number of customers is the average of the 12-month customer counts, not the end-of-year customer count. Please note each individual bill is considered to be a customer. Data on Schedule 4 must be broken out by state, balancing authority, and sector. The 4 sectors, residential, commercial, industrial, and transportation, are defined by customer type and not by rate or usage. Please review the EIA sector chart located on the instructions. The residential sector is for residential properties or households. The commercial sector is for commercial or non-manufacturing businesses. The industrial sector is for manufacturing facilities or irrigation. The transportation sector is for mass transportation systems, such as electrified rail systems. Each entire transit system is reported as one customer. There are 4 different classifications of services to provide sales to the ultimate customer on the EIA-861. Schedule 4A is for full service sales, which include both energy and delivery service. Schedule 4B is for energy-only sales. Power marketers supply energy to the ultimate customers while another entity delivers the energy. Schedule 4C is for utilities that provide delivery-only services to the customer. Schedule 4D is only to be completed by power marketers that provide bundled services to customers in Texas. Supply and delivery should be included in the revenues reported on 4D. If any mergers and/or acquisitions occurred in the reporting year, please provide this information on Schedule 5. Schedule 6 collects data demand-side management and smart grid information. Schedule 6 Part A collects data on energy savings and costs related to energy efficiency programs. If your utility has energy efficiency programs provided by a shared non-utility DSM administrator, please provide the name of the non-utility DSM administrator that reports your DSM activity in lieu of your reporting. Reporting year data is for new energy efficiency programs or old programs which have new customers enrolled during the data year. Life cycle should include data for those incremental, new this year, energy efficiency programs for the life of the programs. Please note that life cycle data should be provided if reporting year data is reported. A workbook is provided to aid you in calculating weighted average life of your portfolio of energy efficiency programs. Lines 1 through 4 are to be reported in megawatt hours, while lines 5 through 8 are to be reported in thousands of dollars. Line 1 collects reporting year savings. Line 2 is the peak demand reduction attributed to these programs. Line 3 collects the anticipated or estimated energy savings over the expected life of the energy efficiency program. Line 4 is the anticipated or estimated average of peak demand reduction from each year of the expected life of the program. Line 5 collects the financial incentives provided to customers for their participation in energy efficiency programs, such as rebates, cash payments, bill credits, and more. Line 6 collects data on all other costs associated with administering the energy efficiency program or portfolio, including, but not limited to, startup, administrative, and marketing costs. Line 7 is the total incentives provided to customers over their anticipated or estimated life of the program. Line 8 collects data on the costs associated with program administration over the anticipated or estimated life of the program. The weighted average life is the expected or anticipated number of years that the energy efficiency measures should produce energy savings and may be calculated using the spreadsheet linked in the form. Schedule 6A continued is for DSM administrators only. Provide the name or names of the utilities which you report energy efficiency for. Schedule 6 Part B is for demand response programs which encourage the temporary reduction in demand for electricity at certain times of high demand. Line 1 is for the number of customers enrolled in demand response programs. Line 2 collects the energy savings in megawatt hours. Line 3 is for the potential peak demand savings. This is the possible demand savings that could occur at the time of the system peak hour, assuming all demand response is called. Line 4 is actual peak demand savings achieved by demand response activities. Line 5 collects the financial incentives customers receive for their participation in demand response programs. Line 6 includes all other costs associated with implementing demand response programs. Line 7 collects the number of grid-enabled water heaters added to the demand response program in the reporting year. Schedule 6 Part C collects data on dynamic pricing programs that are designed to modify the patterns of electricity usage, including the time and level of electricity demand. Line 1 collects the number of customers enrolled in dynamic pricing programs by sector, and lines 2 through 6 ask you to check the types of dynamic pricing programs these customers are enrolled in. Schedule 6 Part D must be reported by respondents that report on Schedule 4A and/or 4C. Schedule 6D collects the December end-of-year meter count, and if you also report on the EIA-861M, it should match the December EIA-861M meter data for the reporting year. There are 3 main types of meters. The first is reported on Line 1. AMR meters transmit data one way from the customer's meter to the utility. AMI meters have the capability at a minimum to record usage in hourly intervals and transmit data at least once daily. AMI meters allow for two-way communication between the customer and the utility. They are reported on Line 2, and the amount of energy served through AMI meters in megawatt hours are to be provided on Line 6. The energy served through AMI meters should be the total energy transmitted through AMI meters and equal the reporting year sum of energy served reported on the EIA 861M. Line 3 collects the number of AMI meters with Home Area Network or HAN capabilities. HAN meters are a subset of AMI meters that have hardware and software installed in them that can communicate with certain appliances within a customer's premises. Line 4 collects data on standard type meters or any other meter that is not AMR or AMI. Standard meters do not transmit data. Line 5 totals lines 1, 2, and 4. Line 7 asks for the number of customers that have the ability to access a web portal to view their daily energy usage. Line 8 asks for the number of meters that have direct load control, where the demand response program sponsor is able to remotely shut down or cycle customers' electrical equipment, such as air conditioners or water heaters. Schedule 7 collects net metering and distributed generator information. Data is to be reported by state, balancing authority, technology type, and sector. Capacity is to be reported in megawatts and to the nearest thousandth. Please note that this schedule collects data as of December 31st of the reporting year. For EIA-861M respondents, the data reported on Schedule 3A and 3B for December reporting year should match what's reported on the 861. For Schedule 7A, net metering programs are billing arrangements that allow the generation from a behind-the-meter resource to be netted against the load served at a customer's billing point. Schedule 7A collects data from PV, wind, and other net metered systems which allow customers to receive credit for excess power they generate and send back to the electrical grid. PV net metered systems must select either AC or DC for their solar capacity rating, and if available, report any associated storage capacity and installations. Also to be reported under PV are 2 sections for virtual net metering. One for virtual net metering programs utilizing assets from facilities with a capacity 1 megawatt or greater, and one for facilities with a capacity less than 1 megawatt. Virtually net metered systems allow multiple energy customers to receive net metering credits from a shared on-site, remote renewable energy system, as if it was located right behind the customer's own meter. Generally, but not always, virtual net metering programs have 2 primary business partners. Note: net metering and virtual net metering are mutually exclusive. Capacity for wind and other technologies should be reported as AC load capable. If a single customer has 2 different generating applications, then it should be reported as 1 customer under each application. Schedule 7B collects data on non-net metered distribution generators located at facilities that have a capacity of less than 1 megawatt. Facilities that have a capacity of 1 megawatt or greater must report its generators on EIA's Form 860 Annual Electric Generator Report. Line 1 collects data on the number of generators in the area served by your distribution system. Line 2 collects the total combined capacity. Line 3 collects capacity that consists of backup-only units that are used for emergency backup service. Line 4 collects the capacity owned by a respondent. On lines 5 through 13, please provide the distributed generator capacity by technology and sector. For Schedule 8, if your company owns a distribution system, please identify the names of the counties by state which the equipment are located. Schedule 9 provides additional space for comments. The edit error log is designed to give you the opportunity to address variances which occur year over year or any apparent data errors. It is important to understand that these errors do not mean the data is incorrect or was provided in error. Please provide as much information as possible since all edits are reviewed by an analyst, and better answers will decrease the likelihood that the EIA will need to contact you for further clarification. Once the override comment is entered, press Save. After all edit errors have been reviewed and an override comment has been provided, you will be able to submit the survey by clicking the Submit button in the top left-hand corner. The FAQs and instructions are a great resource for more detailed information. If you click on the FAQs on the top right-hand corner, you will be taken to our Frequently Asked Questions page. You can click on the Instructions button at the top to be sent to our Instructions page. You can insert or remove records using these buttons. If you accidentally add a different state, you just have to click Remove Record and it should be removed. To print your form, please click Print and it will take you to a PDF version of your form. You may save this to your computer for your records. This concludes the EIA 861 YouTube tutorial. Please email the EIA-861 inbox for any questions, comments, or concerns.